Like Legends, when it used to be down there, like one time some dude came here and I forgot what happened, but we ended up talking about Legends. But they've had legit shootouts,
of course,
at Legends Barbershop in the barbershop.
Right? That's
and I'm just like, these guys? They're like, yeah, those guys right there were part of that action. And I'm just like, my neighbors, the nice neighbors that I have, they're like, yeah, they don't fuck around. And I was just like, fuck yeah, like cool, security, we got security up in this motherfucker. Masonic Smoker Podcast.
Man,
number one podcast. How does Joe Rogan say it? Number one podcast.
Number one podcast in the world. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Masonic.
Number one podcast in this shopping center.
No. Not with that attitude.
I don't know, man. I've been listening to the podcast for the guys downstairs in the barbershop. They're killing it right now.
Oh man, they actually.
Do they got a podcast?
They have stories though.
Yeah,
like Legends, when it used to be down there, like. One time some dude came here and I forgot what happened, but we ended up talking about Legends. But they've had legit shootouts,
of course,
at Legends Barbershop in the barbershop.
Right?
And I'm just like, these guys? They're like, yeah, those guys right there were part of that action. And I'm just like, my neighbors, the nice neighbors that I have, they're like, yeah, they don't fuck around. And I was just like, fuck yeah, like cool, security, we got security up in this motherfucker.
And that's where you always catch people slipping, right, getting their hair cut, right? You think that's get him at the bar. The guy's just in the barber chair. You know?
He's got the guns underneath the fucking.
I haven't got a haircut in like 4 years, so.
Tell me if we're recording because I want to tell this story.
My barbers don't.
So
give any money from me.
So introduce, and then I'm gonna tell this barber story.
All right, hell yeah. Masonic Smoker Podcast. Welcome back. We got Champelli in the house. We got my co-host Frank Castillo. Make sure you guys are following the Patreon, link in bio, you know the whole nine. MasoniCseeds.co, Masonic Smoker on Fairfax.com. Follow at Frank Castillo. Follow Champelli on Instagram. Follow all 36 of my accounts. But yeah, let's get this show rocking. Let's start with this barbershop story real quick.
All right. So you were talking about how your barber doesn't get any money from you. Show everyone your hair. Okay. So I was walking down.
All the link. Wait up.
We were talking about black barbers. We were talking about the black barbershop downstairs. So I was walking past the barbershop off Highland.
Yeah.
And one of the guys comes out and he goes, "Hey man, let me cut your hair." And I was like, "Oh, I don't need a haircut." And he was like, "Come on, bro, just come in, let me fade you up." And I had to show him. I was like, "Yeah, I don't need it." You know what I mean? But without skipping a beat, he was like, "Well, here, take my card in case any of your friends have hair."
True hustler right there.
I was like, God damn. I respected it, but I was like, that hurt.
He could have lined you up a little bit.
He still could have cleaned you up.
I kind of want to go back, so I was like, I will.
But shit, let's get right to it. Champelli, what's good, man? Freaking introduce yourself, man.
Shit, man. You know, I'm just over here fucking with Masonic down here on Fairfax, you know, real big. Had to come tap in with the guy. You know, I see you making all kinds of moves over here in LA, doing your thing, and really love the whole movement you got going on with everything, and just inspired by what you got going on. Honestly, I love to see that fervor, like, you know, the backyard boogie going on.
Yeah.
Chickens, plants, like,
all
you know,
that.
Just real organic vibes, you
Super
know,
organic.
And that's like what it's all about, honestly, that what, you know, weed and growing is all about, and that excitement of finding new stuff, creating new stuff. So I feel like you're just like, you know, just that's the essence of everything, honestly, of what the weed game is about.
Appreciate
to me.
It's
like
man.
It's all about the plant and creating new stuff and just sharing it with people, and you know, so it's really dope that you got the you know, the platform with the seed store and everything, and it's really dope, man. So
Thank you, man.
Had to come tap in with the guy over here, you know. What I mean, for sure.
It's reassuring for me coming from someone like you, and especially the way your brand is showcased. You know, like me, I'm like off the hip, fuck it, throw it on, put it on a package, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas yours is more like, you know, thought out as I seen, and even like I did my research, and it's like, you know, freaking your shit's primo, you know? And it's cool to see, like, you still see like the true art even in like this asshole in his backyard, you know what I mean? And it's nice to see, like, there's a lot of guys like you that have like a nice, well put brand where like you could throw that shit on a billboard and it looks nice, you know? With, you know, the actual, you know, experience and, you know, portfolio to back it up, that are like, we rock with Mace, even though he's not clean cut, you know? He just does whatever the fuck he wants, you know? And I appreciate, guys like you, recognizing, like, I'm just doing weed shit, period. Like, I don't really try to sell anything. I'm selling shit all the time, but, like, I'm just doing me.
Yeah, man, and that's dope to just be in that raw, unfiltered space where you can kind of just do your thing and you don't have to, like, put on any show or overthink stuff too much. You just go in and do it, you know what I mean? And that's liberating in a lot of ways too, and especially in this space, as a lot of stuff is contrived and just like not really organic or even original for that matter. So like to come across like real people doing real things that are really about the culture, from the culture, is like really, that's where the inspiration lies and what it's really all about. So to just see to see you just doing your thing just is like, man, that gives, I think even Sour Wave said it on your last podcast about just, that just empowers a lot of people to just be like, that just gives people a voice and lets people say, oh man, fuck, I can do this too, or whatever, and just go in and not have to, like, everything doesn't have to be completely perfect, and just kind of just go ahead and just do it, man. And because a lot of stuff, a lot of creativity and a lot of great ideas get thwarted by like overthinking, over planning, and just like, what's the perception going to be? And then it just kills the whole vibe. And like, you don't end up doing anything. Whereas like, if you just kind of let it flow and get out there and do stuff, and refine the process as you move forward, and just kind of bet on yourself, So
no doubt about that.
So,
That's kind of it right there. You hit it on the head.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, man, I mean, you got great art too, man. I see all that. You have some amazing shirts and dope how you put your stuff across, man. So it's just, I'm fucking with it for sure.
That's what's up. I seen I don't want this to be another regurgitated podcast. I kind of seen the ones that you did already.
Yeah.
I kind of will riff and we'll talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Is there anything right now that's in the works that you want to showcase that you want people to know about, that they should be on the lookout for? Like off rip, like what are you working on? Is there pheno hunts? Are you making seeds? Are you trying to isolate a terp to showcase to the world via clone, via seed stock? What's Champelli doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of get that sort of, marketing out of the way, or, that sort of stuff out of the way. I just did my first rec drop into the market, so that's kind of a big step for us. Just always kind of like being on the other side of things and actually getting some stuff in stores, just to kind of say we did it and put our foot down in that little, in that sort of area,
And how does that feel? Like, I'm in the rec game now. You ever watch The Office?
Yeah.
You ever seen when Michael Scott declares bankruptcy?
Yeah, exactly. I think I did see that.
Is that how?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of in a way. It's like, okay, let's go ahead and lose a bunch of money here. Let's watch it just pour your money down the drain. I'm working with a little good, kind of smaller independent distributor, and we're still getting like high tags for our bags on the rack and just kind of spoon feed in the market, just because like a lot of the stuff I'm putting into the market is like limited batch, small batch stuff. It's like, I'm not trying to like,
and it's part of building a portfolio,
weed,
building up a rec portfolio, like just doing shit,
Yeah, it also, what I've noticed, it also gives you access to a lot of people that normally, you wouldn't have access to. It kind of like just opens the doors and the floodgates as far as like,
it's assimilating
growing the brand. Yeah,
it's assimilating.
Yeah,
it's
growing the
playing
brand.
The game. It's
playing the game. Basically,
it's staying relevant too. It's
exactly.
like even me as like a backyard Mr. Boogie Oogie.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing like cookies rollouts and seed junkie rollouts and compound rollouts, and I like I'm at the table too.
Yeah.
And I got some weed that some dudes grow that I could put in a bag and sell on the rec scene. But I've yet to. I'm not there yet. And I see it, and there's a way where I could, cut some corners and get there quick, but it's just like, organic is my approach. And maybe one day I might be at a table with the right set of group of people. I already know who these people are, but it's just like, it's not something I'm entertaining.
Yeah, man, it's one of those things that it'll come though. I mean, you got a lot of great genetics and shit, so it's inevitable. You'll start to see your stuff's gonna start popping up, and people are gonna be hitting you up like, "Yo, we got 100 pounds of this stuff over here. You want to bag some
what can we do with this?" And I was like, "Put up a Masonic sticker on it. We got this, baby. I made it. I made the seed, you know,
I
like
mean,
that's literally the name of the game.
That's kind of
sometimes.
like what it's turned into in a lot of ways. So you know,
There's whatever. I don't try to, fool anyone as long as
Yeah.
I'm transparent, and it's like the don't ask, don't tell type of thing. Like if
Yeah.
you don't ask, I'm not gonna tell you. I don't know what the law is, but like it's kind of like something around that way. You know, it's like I'm not gonna tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're not hiding anything. But that's kind of that approach that I see when people are doing that. You
For
know?
sure, for sure.
Like, oh, we just didn't put it on the bag type of deal. But
Yeah.
speaking of genetics, what are we holding right here?
I mean, shit, the Super Gremlin is like a little, amalgamation of different things, all very, as you can smell, kind of candy vibes there. We got the Super Gremlin, the Exclusivo, of course,
I
which
love the art.
is out in the market. Yeah, this art actually, my homie Z-Man from SF, super dope hip hop artist and animal rights activist and just overall super good brother here.
When you
did
say
this
super
art.
dope hip hop artist, like any off the top of your head that he's done?
He's underground, like, what you might classify as backpack, but really it's just like high level, just like skill, lyricism.
Like who?
As far as this guy.
Yeah, like which rappers? Or like
this particular rapper that made this art.
Oh, it
actually,
was a rapper made it.
Yeah, so
Oh,
he did. So he's
okay.
originally like a Bay Area
No,
legend.
I thought he did.
Yeah,
I thought he did art for rappers.
Oh no, not so much. No.
But that's dope.
Yeah, Z Dazzle is his Instagram. He got some really dope art, and he's been the homie for years. So I really wanted to. He brought the idea to life as far as the gremlin. He'd done a few gremlins in the past, and just growing up in the 80s, I kind of grew up with just like watching the Gremlins movie when it first kind of came out and going to the
I've never
theaters
seen
and
Don't
just
feed him
having
after
that
midnight, dog. Wait, you
having
haven't
that
seen the Gremlins?
experience.
I'm 30 years old.
I'm
dog.
33. I've seen it.
My parents never showed me the Gremlins.
What
Yeah.
scary movies have you seen?
I've seen like not many. Honestly.
Do you like scary movies?
I mean, to a degree, I mean,
Is this
I
a
like.
scary movie?
Gremlins? What would you
I mean,
class it?
in
It's
the
comedy
past,
horror?
as a kid, it would be like scarier.
Yeah.
As a kid, it was mixed with comedy
It
though
was, yeah, it
too,
was a
and
comedy horror.
satire, kind of comedy horror thing, and like cult movie in a way.
So Super
but-
Gremlin, is the cross on it? Are you allowed to disclose?
Yeah, I
the
mean,
cross?
I totally, yeah. So this is actually rainbow belts and a few other things. It's basically a Gusher's Pie cross, essentially. You know, what I mean?
Alright.
So it's like rainbow belts mail that I had hit back to a Gusher Pie 2 and a bunch of other stuff. It's
Alright.
essentially, yeah. So that's why you get that kind of candy vibe.
It's super nice. I've actually popped the original rainbow belt seed stock.
Yeah.
Popped a couple packs of those. I did the 2.0. I did the dark rainbow. Fucking a couple other rainbow belts, and
Yeah.
and I could totally see the Fruit Loop vibe coming from
Yeah,
some of the
no,
phenos
for
that I
sure. Well,
found.
you can see also it's like one of those things that it's like kind of an ugly strain. Like it looks
Skittles is
like
disgusting
it's Skittles.
when I
Yeah, it kind of oxidizes quick, but it like smokes great. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So yeah, so shout out to Dime Piece Exotics and Grower for Life and like a few people who like basically also work in the Gushers Pie line and stuff like that.
Speaking of genetics, of course we have the demand on genetics. Like
Yeah.
we got to drop, the pop song on the radio so everyone can eat it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, what do you go home and listen to?
I mean, as far as like smoking goes,
Yeah.
or music wise, or
No,
like,
smoking wise.
Yeah, yeah, no.
And music-wise.
yeah, and music wise,
Fuck
yeah,
it, yeah.
right, yeah. I mean, shit. Honestly, I really appreciate like right now we got a pretty diverse lineup of everything I've tried to put into the market has all kind of like been unique, from the Ropium to the Cassis to the
Ropium.
Super Gremlin.
What are the genetics behind Ropium?
So the genetics behind Ropium are also, once again, kind of leaning into, since it's the year of the Skittles. I
Okay,
would
so
say,
it's in the
leaning
za
into,
realm.
Yeah, it's in the za realm. Like
Okay.
everything is kind of like in the za, but kind of like unique and different. With like it has Thin Mint cookies in it also, so it kind of like has like a different.
Anything
sort of,
totally left field that you're like trying to showcase, or
I
that
mean,
you're fond
honestly,
of?
like I would say, like like the Cassis, the Ropium, the Gremlin are all different. Like the Exclusivo
Yeah.
is more of like a cut of like an LCG, like a standard LCG is like, but it's something that an LCG that we hunted. You know what I mean?
All
So
right.
it's like you know how right now with the LCG, there's all these different levels of candy. Basically, with LCG,
I mean, it's all in the same realm to me. It's a derivative of the same thing.
100%.
Left and right.
What I'm seeing though is like a lot of different cuts. Depending on the cut, is like better than other cuts.
Yeah.
Is what it kind of comes down to. So it's like there's like preferred cuts. So this just happens to be like a super high level like preferred cut that I found. That I have the cultivation partner that I'm using. We're able to grow it and get the white ash out of it, and just like good smoke, and solid smoke. And it's just one of those staple strains. So within like the range of everything we have, which are all mostly unique and different. This is actually like, like the one staple kind of stock sort of thing, but still like still hyped up and just, fire.
I don't fight the LCG hype or love for it. I every time
what is
someone
LCG?
Lemon cherry gelato.
Oh, lemon
Runts.
cherry,
Runts. Basically the original Runts.
So it's just like, I don't fight, as much as they bring it around, every shape, form of it, it's good. Yeah. It's good, it's great.
Yeah.
But it's not different.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Because it's fucking
some people
dope.
like the same. Some
it's
people
just,
like
it's just Krug. It's Krug.
You
go grab some Krug. You go grab or Clico. It's just Clico all the fucking time.
It's one of those things that's at this point is saturated now. You know what I mean? The market is saturated with it, and people are starting to like reach that point. So it's interesting to watch how consumers like evolve. You know what I mean? As far as like they reached a point with just like say the Runts with color and stuff. Then they kind of reached a point with the LCG. In the past, it was the cookies, or it was the OG, or going further back, it was like, oh, damn, too much AF-GUI, too much Blue Dream, too much, everything kind of reaches its point and then has a recirculation and comes back. Everybody's like, oh, damn, where's that Granddaddy Purple now? I need that. Oh, and then, it disappeared, and then like this nostalgia kicks in. Like everybody this year has been like the OG. We want OGs.
Yeah, legacy.
Everybody wants that. The legacy resurgence, and a lot of it is like, it makes sense though, because a lot of the stuff, the great strains that we have today, are all like based on. Like, we're only using a certain amount of foundational blocks for what we're building right now. It's very kind of small pool that we're working on off of, is like as breeders, like it's like OG, haze, like a certain different few varieties of like sativas that maybe are a little quirky and different, like with blueberry or different little hints of different sativa-y things,
I do see
that.
So
it's a limited thing. It's like, it's like 5 things that are like the land race kind of like platform of like what everything is built on right now. And OG being like one of the top things that gives everything power in like and depth, you know what I mean? Because it's like OG gives you that punch and that skunkiness and like, and it kind of goes back like, I mean, I have to give props to the OG just because like, originally when I first started growing, I was growing Afghan, like real Afghan Kush, you know what I mean? Like that was like literally these guys had brought it back from Afghanistan in like 1988, you know what I mean? Nice. And I got the seeds and grew that. And it was like the closest thing that I could like kind of equivalate to fucking, making up a word here, equivalate to fucking basically Kush nowadays. It's like that indica, you know what I mean? That indica power in a way.
Have you thought of, so like there's a couple seed companies that sell Afghan varieties.
Yeah, so I've been looking at a lot of those guys, landrace guys. I like the Afghan guys.
So there's what's his name sent me a lot of them. Inoculate the West sent me stuff from Mazar, Kandahar, Balk, Cash. The list goes on.
So, and I reached out to a couple of those guys, like, yo, this is what I'm looking for and I need, and it was hard. I got to kind of dive in and try to get some of those seeds and try to explore them, because I also wonder, like, like in say Morocco, a lot of stuff has also been like diluted,
tainted.
You know what I mean? Tainted. That like the Dutch
with
sent
the
all
Dutch
these seeds
White
down,
and
all this stuff, and it's like, so there's so much of that. So to actually find that real landrace stuff, those true indicas that like are like 3-4 feet high, just giant golf ball nugs.
I think it's like it's a matter of us being able to like grow that said seed stock, because everything is with a grain. Like, you give me some shit, sure, whatever. Like, I'm assume it's tainted. Assume it's not what you think it is, and you grow it out. But if it's special and you kind of use your due diligence and you're like, man, this seems kind of like unadulterated, because that's kind of what happened with a lot of the seed stock that I'm growing
I know
so
you're seeing
much
a lot.
shit,
Yeah,
like
you're
so
seeing a
much
lot.
shit, and I'm like flipping over every stone. And this landrace stuff that I'm growing, like yeah, there's some stuff, and I'm just like, oh, terpinolene, and but there's like this stuff that's like you don't see, and that doesn't get showcased, that doesn't get talked about, and I'm just like, that's the stuff that I'm stoked on. I'm like, cool, like not even another candy. We're like, this is just a whole nother, like we're working on Sierra fucking green forest terps and
I mean,
shit like
that's
that.
honestly what I'm like. That's like, you see different terps and different things like that, and strains basically make, create whole waves, right? So all these different things exist, from Skittles to Kush to say Runts or LCG or even a Haze. They're kind of like exist in their own little worlds and create their own industries. Look at, for example, Skittles or even cookies you could point to as like creating $1 billion industry in a sense,
So that's where I think stuff is headed. Like people are gonna have to coin a terp. Like
Yeah.
just grab Blue Dream and make it the best,
Yeah.
and put a nice package on it, and you be the Blue Dream guy. And there's room for terps, and like Skittles got Skittles, cookies.
Yeah.
Has everything under the fucking sun, and Seed Junkie and all them, they do that kind of terp, and there's still room for like showcasing terps, like
For sure.
like and especially for breeders and guys like that kind of already have their brand already built. It's all like, Oni could just come out with a papaya pre-roll or a Tropicana pre-roll, and you already got all that built up, and you got something to back it up with.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it is, and then obviously there's that emphasis that's been on THC, in which, potency, which totally means nothing. It's like you could smoke a 40% THC and just not even get high, and it tastes like fucking styrofoam.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything till you smoke it, and it
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything to like a dude that doesn't smoke fire. And,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and I'm assuming no one that has anything to do with rec, anything like from anything to like, yeah, it's cool, it's nice, but like best weed I had is grown in a tent by my buddy Third Eye Organics or my buddy Jerome, or just like dudes that grow at home, and it's just like, miss me with the fucking numbers.
So it's interesting how the numbers came into play and how misleading that is.
Well, it's marketing, right?
Yeah, it's
always
marketing. It's like, oh, pump up the numbers. It's like, even like with a car, you get a Mercedes. It's like the higher up with the number, the more expensive it gets. It's this mental thing as humans. Everybody's like, oh, I need the 6.0 or the this or that. It's the whole hype of that. But I mean, ultimately, it's like the low. I mean, I've found like, the lower the THC and the higher the terps is like where you're having those good experiences, where you really feel like, all the right effects that you're looking for. Like a lot of stuff is like 22 or 17, like some of the, or like Skittles, or even some of Sherbinsky's early work, it's all like testing 17, 22, 21, and it's like fucking fire. You're gonna like enjoy the experience. It tastes amazing. You're gonna get hella high, feel great, you know. So it's like,
I think there is a correlation with like the stuff that was a little bit lower and it being a little better.
Which is a trip, so it goes against what people, maybe. Is
there anything, any strains that you want to bring back, that you could bring back if you could?
Yeah, I mean, it's a trip being like an old young guy who was like growing in the late 80s and like being able to see like all these different strains, you know what I mean? I grew up in basically San Francisco, which was like the mecca of weed.
From San Jose.
Yeah. So it was like the mecca, honestly. And so much stuff came through there, and so many different strains, and so much different growers and things like that. And then obviously you have Humboldt and Mendocino and all the stuff that was going on there, and all the surrounding areas, even Grass Valley, which was like a little sketchier to grow back in those days. But I saw like so many things that like are no longer here with us anymore, you know what I mean? So it's a trip to be like, I'm able to like recall those terps though, and kind of see, reflections in them in some of these other things that are being created. Like, don't get me wrong, like there's a lot of new, cool, interesting stuff being made right now, but I'm still like, damn, there's nothing like, I would still pick the weed of yesteryear than to what's around today, you know what I mean, as far as like power and expansion, and just like, and everybody's like, no ways, how could weed be better back then? But literally there was like, it's just less watered down in a sense, it's like you keep making a smoothie and adding ingredients, it just kind of gets, stuff kind of can get a little lost. So there is benefit in like holding on to some purity with certain things.
I mean, it's
whether
like
an
dogs
OG
too.
or-
You
yeah,
know?
you start to get problems.
You got
get,
Frenchies and you got like fucking. I mean, Frenchies are nice too, and they
Yeah,
cost
that's
a
what I'm
lot.
saying. They're
Yeah, it's
great.
beautiful
They're
for 6
designers.
years,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it'll.
But like
fucking
it's it
choke.
shouldn't be alive. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So
Kind of like
shouldn't have-
Skittles, you know.
Yeah, it's a trip, There's like, exactly. Like, I mean, as far as Skittles goes, like, it doesn't want to
It's
grow.
not- it's not the
doesn't want to
prettiest.
veg. Doesn't want to do.
It'll
it's like,
fucking start dying on the vine and shit.
yeah.
If you
Lazy
got to really
hell.
watch. You got to really take care of your Skittles.
yeah,
you know?
man, for sure. That's a tough one. But yeah, so just trying to, trying to start digging in. A lot of it is just time, finding time. You know how much all this breeding and just growing stuff
Man.
takes. It's just like such a process, And then there's also like the trust factor and then sustaining this stuff. It's like once you crack something and get it going, it's like I have like old Champelli seeds from like the late 90s that I haven't cracked. Everyone's like, well, how come you haven't brought it back, this and that? And I'm just like, until I have like my own super stable nursery in place where I could really crack it and sustain
Trust
it and
it.
keep it going and trust it's all tight. It's like I've just been working and focusing on other stuff right now. And so that's part of it. It's just like you gotta,
I cracked a ton of old seed stock from Ken Estes,
Oh, nice.
and like a lot. Like he gave me a fucking bag. Full.
That's dope.
And it's just like that shit. You can't just pop it. And I did pop it just like nilly willy. And it's like old seed stock. Only some of it made it. And that's how I wanted to pop it, because I don't. I'm not gonna wait 10 more years, 5 more years. I'm not going to wait, period.
Yeah,
Get that shit in the ground and let's see what happens. And I did, and I actually got some stuff out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you find someone that can like fucking put it in embryo, splice it, and do all this nice shit, so be it. But, and I've talked to Dio Farms. He actually put me on game with this enzyme that helps them get
to
pushing.
crack seeds and stuff like
but
that.
I didn't use any of that stuff. I just fucking kept it pushing,
I mean, some of this stuff, I talked to Dio about that as well, and some of the different hormones and different things you can
Gibberellic
do.
acid.
Yeah, the gibberellic acid.
Gibberellic acid. What the fuck?
It's just all jargon, dude.
Yeah. So there is
Is Otis laughing his ass off?
there is a lot of different techniques, and I mean, I have like literally.
I'm convinced you guys are just making this shit up,
Yeah.
and then as you're talking, then the end of the podcast, you're gonna be like,
we probably we probably got the word.
We're probably
wrong.
botching the words and shit like
But
that.
they know what we're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I have like, one of my brother's old smuggler friends just kicked me down like a ton of old seeds a couple years ago. I mean, and like stuff literally from like 68, 69 and through the 70s, like old Panama Reds and Colombians and Cambodians and Thais and like all this old stuff that I have that I want to kind of like crack it properly, like you say, get to somebody who can actually do the embryonic sort of thing and get in there and make sure like this stuff actually cracks. But the reason I know it'll crack is like my boy who gave them to me lives out in the desert in Utah, had cracked like one of the ties, which was like, it's labeled like 73 or 72, and it like he's like said it cracked and grew and was like some super killer. And as soon as I heard that, I was like dude, you gotta. Then he just grew it out and smoked it, and I was like, dude, you gotta send me some of these seeds so I can like actually do it properly and try to like so I have
grew,
like
I grew 4 varieties from Thailand this season. They weren't old, but they're new, straight from Thailand.
Oh.
Fucking homie's uncle here in the States is like, yo, homie, he's like, yo, my uncle lives in Thailand. Can he send you some stuff? Fuck it, here's the address. And sure enough, I get this package straight from Thailand with all a bunch of little knickknacks and fucking things from Thailand, and I grew them out, dude.
Yeah.
These fucking plants are 20 feet in the air.
Yeah.
really?
Growing out of a 2-gallon pot that tapped into the ground. Compared dwarfing any other strain. So I'm growing 4 varieties from Thailand and like 4 varieties from India. All these landrace varieties, the terps on them, there's 1 or 2 that it's like, all right, that's just like some fucking Dutch shit that got, But there's some of the shit's like, oh, that's pure. And even the shit that's like, who knows,
What's interesting is like a lot of that stuff is like, it's tough with a lot of those landrace things because you'll grow it out. I mean, so much work has been done over the years to get what we know is like what plants are today and the flowering time and different stuff like that. Like Thai varieties, it's like they have like, it's on the equator to where like it won't, the reason it even flowers, it'll be like the light will be the same like all year round, and like the why it flowers is basically in the soil and stuff like that, you know. So it's like, I know with those Thai ones, you're like, shit, this is fucking,
I'm
you know,
not
weeks
even,
and months and months.
that
It's
plant's
like a
just
full,
there.
Exactly.
There's no one's rushing it.
It's just
we
going,
just water it, and it changes its shape sometimes. You know what I mean? And right now it's like, you ever seen the Dr. Grimm spoon? The way it looks, it kind of just throws out little sacks, and it doesn't really flower up. That's what a lot of these are doing. You know, very thin leaf, very vigorous. They just they're literally 20 feet tall.
That's
growing in a 1 gallon pot, saying hi to everybody that walks by. Fucking.
What do you do when that starts happening? Do you
just leave them?
You can't prune that.
No, you just leave them, man. It's full of seeds. I'll fucking put some in people's hands so they could grow some Thai type shit in their backyard.
And you know what's interesting is like with that sort of stuff, it's like they have interesting qualities. Some of them, like you say, some of it might just be like real vague. Like other ones, you might be like, oh damn, you know. But yeah, it could be interesting to like, you know, what my idea was to like slowly, you know, bring it into some other seed stock and, you know, try to do something with it. You grab a
Skittles, right? You grab a Skittles. You grab this Thailand shit that grows like wildfire. You grab a Mac. You grab a Skittles that grow like fucking a disease, you know, a slow spreading disease. And you cross them, and maybe you'll have a fast growing Skittles. Like, this is the thought process.
Interesting.
You know, that's the thought process behind intentional seed breeding and making, as opposed to me, where I'm just making tools so that I could just encapsulate terps, seed stock, you know, so on and so forth. Yeah, I do some stuff with intention and make seeds to make better hashers, or refine my Wilson line, or just kind of just do things like that, have fun more than anything. That's the only thing I'm doing.
I mean, you're an artist.
Yeah, I'm just having fun, dude.
That's the thing I've noticed, being not a weed like breeder or anything, is watching and learning and seeing all these people from the culture. It's like, a lot of you guys are just artists doing your version of art, which is breeding and making these seeds, and it's pretty sick.
People are buying our vision, and sad to say, on Instagram they're buying a lifestyle now. Some of these guys, like, they're tapping into a lifestyle brand, and it's just like, we're visual buyers, and that's how we've been trained. But weed didn't come from that. Weed came from, like, you have to smoke the weed, you have to smell the weed, you have to actually have some type of knowledge on it. Now it's just like, you go into the store and you're on a kiosk, and you know, weed is turned into like something else. But you know, it's fine. Like, I'll play the game. You know, I'm not gonna bitch about it, because that's the last thing I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do me, and I'm fresh. You know, I do fresh shit.
Yeah, bro. You know what the kind of weed dispensary kiosk I want to see is, you walk in and it's a dude's garage. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fun.
It's a trip. Always in the past, like, always the best weed that we'd always want to get was always the guy who had like 1,000 in his closet, 1,000 watt light, and like, or even less, you know, a 400 or a 600, and it's like he'd have like, you know, a couple ounces of that shit, and it was always like the craziest weed, because it's like, you know, that was his baby. He just like nursed it and took care of it, and you know.
There was a guy that I remember when everyone was getting the medical cards and stuff. People were like starting to open up like mobile dispensaries, and you can go on like an app. And I remember being in Temecula, and I met a guy. He was literally a server at like the Yard House, and I would buy weed from him in his truck. And he had like all this paperwork I had to fill out. It was so ridiculous, but it was so funny because he had the best weed, and it was literally just a guy hustling jars of weed out of his car, and it was like amazing strains and stuff. And I was just like,
the guy I bought my first weed off him, his name was Sibo. He was an East Side Backstreet Crip from South Central Los Angeles. And it was on an apartment complex. It was on San Pedro Street, across the street from Locke High School. And we had to ring the doorbell, and then they would see us on the camera. They buzz us in, and we'd fucking be right there. Like, hopefully I don't die today. And there'd be guns, there'd be cocaine, there'd be ecstasy pills, there'd be crack, and there'd be the fire-ass kush. And we went for the fire-ass kush. That's who I started buying my weed off.
That's great right there. That's it right there when you're in the hood. That's
you're just like, shit, that's a lot for an
Sibo, baby. You know
is Sibo still around?
I have no idea. I don't know, man. You know, those guys were really like hot, you know? Yeah. And I don't know, like, that's why my parents didn't want me smoking weed, because that's who I had to buy my weed off of. Like, those are the guys that sold weed around my neighborhood. You know, there weren't growers. There weren't hippies.
No.
It was just gangbangers, essays, and foos, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I was
yeah.
one of the foos.
yeah, one of the foos coming through like, yo, I need some
Yeah.
stash. Yeah.
But-
Yeah, no,
Hell
that's dope.
I seen some of your old videos, man. With you're like hanging out with all the rappers and shit, with Snoop and everybody, fucking braided up with the rollie on. Like you're out of control with it, my G. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you have such a cool vibe. When you walked in, I was just like, oh yeah, this guy, he's chill as fuck.
Yeah,
like,
man.
you're definitely the kind of guy that can like hang out.
Fucking, that's
about
cool,
a
man.
bunch of rappers.
It's dope. I mean, it's
Is it still the same? Like we asked like a day in the life. You know,
Yeah.
Was your day in the life a lot like that video back in the day?
I mean, it's definitely changed. I'm like pretty focused on the brand and just
Yeah.
like working a lot lately and just doing that. And I also produce music. So in the past, I would just be like in the studio every day, just like doing studio shit.
Who
and
have you
music
produced
and,
for? Like,
shit. I mean, a few different artists. I've done a little something for Snoop, Burner, Be
Nice.
Real, Styles P.
his dad produced Beastie Boys'.
oh, man, that's
which album
epic.
was it?
Paul's Boutique.
Paul's Boutique.
Paul's, I love that album.
Yeah, his
Paul's
dad
Boutique.
produced that.
Oh, that's fucking fire.
Tone Loc by Wild Thing.
Oh man,
Sorry, Wild Thing by Tone Loc.
Yeah.
Wild Thing by Tone Loc.
No,
That's
Wild
legendary,
Thing by Tone Loc. Yeah, that's
That's
a good
epic.
one. Yeah.
That's epic
Funky
right there.
Cold Medina. Did he do that one?
Shit, bro, I gotta ask him.
Maybe. Shit. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so just working with artists. I mean, I worked with this one, rest in peace, Gonzo, one artist from LA that I did a bunch of albums for. Used to be one of Ice Cube's artists as a group, Caution, like Bounce Rock Skate was one of their songs, like that was super big, and he went on to like work with Tupac, and Tupac kind of gave him his name Ritzy, and he was like kind of like an outlier of the Outlaws and stuff like that, and I got like 3 or 4 albums of his that I haven't even released yet. You know what I mean?
I'm ahead.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
hip hop. I love every shape, form, and
Yeah.
like people give Burn a hard time. I'm like, I listen to Burn.
Yeah, Burn's
Like,
got skills.
I-
Man. People
like,
sleep on Burn.
Burn
honestly.
is like
He's
I can,
evolved
I can
as an
listen
artist.
To Burn.
Yeah, he's
and I
evolved.
listen to old Burn, and I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
Burn, like you was crazy, dog.
Yeah.
Like you're more reserved and
He was talking more shit.
He was
back
talking
then.
that
Yeah.
shit on,
He
and
was
I didn't
talking
listen
that
to old Burn,
Yeah.
and that's before Burn was Mr. Cookies.
Yeah,
And he has rap fans,
Yeah.
and then he has Cookies fans that got onto the new music. Like Burn's
Yeah.
like been rapping for rap,
Yeah.
just to rap. He
He's
wasn't
been-
really promoting his Cookies.
And that
shit like
Taylor Gang era too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Burn's been doing it. Much respect to Burner. You know what I mean? He really been doing the music.
I
shit
hopped
forever.
on Burn when he dropped Empire.
Okay, yeah,
That's when I was like, all right, I get it now. Like
yeah.
It's easy to make fun of. You know what I mean?
It's easy.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
no, well, because
I mean,
it's one of those like
people give him shit. Oh,
Yeah,
Burner
he's-
can't
yeah.
rap, this and that.
So
and
many
like,
people
and
give him-
just
yeah.
try to like write him off like that. You
No,
know what
it's
I mean?
easy to
Just
throw
because
stones.
people try
Yeah.
to like put people in a box. Like, oh, you're not able to do that. You're a Mexican rapper, this and that, and like it's like Latins don't get enough real credit for like what they do for in the music culture and able to rap and hold their
Shit,
own and
Italian
stuff
rapper.
Like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Fucking
Italian, yeah.
whatever you want to
Whatever
call
it
it.
is, yeah, exactly.
A rapper. I never looked at him as a Mexican rapper.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm a Mexican myself.
yeah,
He's
exactly.
just a rapper.
Yeah,
He's
exactly,
just a fucking
exactly,
rapper.
yeah.
And Killer Mike said it best. Like,
Yeah.
like I love all hip hop. Like I
Yeah.
love the Lil Uzi Verts. I love the Rock Kims. I love the Jizzes, the Cool Keats. I love the fucking I don't really care for 6ix9ine,
Yeah.
but I'll acknowledge him and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm aware of
I mean,
him.
that's the beauty of hip hop. It's like one of those kind of like open, format sort of things. Like you could, if you got some skills or you have a passion for music, you could get in there and express yourself. Mostly music is just about expression. Like even if
Yeah.
you can't rap and you want to do it so bad, just go ahead and do it, man, just to get it out of your system and express yourself, and that's what I think is like,
And
what it's
a
really
lot of
all
things-
about,
post it on
you know?
TikTok.
Like you really
Yeah,
gotta,
yeah, exactly.
you really gotta like shatter
Just
your
like-
ego to like shamelessly.
To even
Oh,
do it.
spit
I
some
mean,
raps.
yeah,
I
yeah,
respect
exactly.
anyone that ever gets on a stage, even
Yeah.
if they bomb their
Yeah,
dick
yeah.
off. I still am always like, I respect
yeah.
it, blah, blah, blah. But it's also so funny because it's like no matter how famous you get, like people will always shit on you. And
Yeah.
Burner's a good rapper, and I've seen his stuff, and it's like he's a very nice guy, and it's so funny to see like people just like it's an easy thing to immediately shit on.
And I always like I'll be in my live and I'm defensive. Like I'm the devil's advocate when I talk about Burners. Like he's
Yeah.
fine with me, and I'm like, dude, it's only the white dudes on my Instagram
Yeah.
comments that don't like Burn. Like,
Yeah,
chill the
that's a
fuck
trip.
out,
Yeah.
guys. Like, you guys don't even listen to hip hop like that.
Yeah.
You have no like. Let me see your hip hop. You know,
Cred, basically.
what is hip hop to you?
Yeah.
You know, blah blah blah. Shut the fuck up. You know,
Yeah.
like me, I love hip hop. I could tell you that. I have an extensive record collection. Go to plenty of shows. I have my top 5. I love Wu-Tang. I
Yeah.
love NWA. I love hip hop. And I'll tell you that Burn gets a pass in my book.
Nah, Burn is he's solid, man.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of the dude as far as he's come with as much, you know, where he's at right now.
And
all
people
his
aren't gonna like that.
accomplishments, you
The
know what I
comment
mean?
section is gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
But you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
who's gonna love it? Cookies. Send
Yeah,
us
shout
some
out
new
Cookies.
T-shirts.
Shout out to Cookies.
I love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, shout out
Nice.
for real though. Shout out Big Burn. He's been holding me down for a minute. Like Vibes boxes. I went to Cookies one time, not telling no one. I went to
Yeah.
Cookies. I was in line. Next thing you know, some dude comes out with his phone. Burner wants to talk to you.
That's dope. That's dope.
And
right
I'm
there.
like,
That's dope.
Hello. Like, am I in
Yeah,
trouble? He's like, go inside. We're gonna give you the works. And I was just like,
No, that's dope right there. Yeah, he's
Shout out
always
Big Burn.
he's always showing love. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely shout out to Big Burn. You know what I mean?
shout
That's
out Big fucking
That's my
Burn.
brother right there for sure for life. He's doing it.
He's just a guy with the family, smoking weed,
Yeah, yeah.
fucking selling weed,
Living the
like
dream, man.
living
Just
the dream, dog.
manifested, you know, $1 billion empire.
I
off
still
this
love
shit,
that.
you know?
I was telling you, my favorite strain was that Girl Scout cookies. That Girl Scout cookies
Yeah.
strain was like, I remember that being
That's
like
so
my height. Like
so
that
there was
my,
the OG,
yeah.
there was the medical scene, and in the medical scene you had like the Green Crack, the Blue Dreams, and the Bubbas, and the LA Cons, and the Jack Hairs, and that's what we had. And then all of us, GG4, and that GG4, then
Yeah,
GG4,
yeah.
and then boom, Cookies,
Boom, that was
Sunset,
it. Yeah, yeah.
Gelato, Dosey.
That's interesting, that evolution. I mean, that was like, you know, the Cookies fam and everything. Shout out to everybody from Flux to Sherbinsky to Jai, you know, Burn and Powers Up. You know, they're like, that was like a pivotal moment in this cannabis industry
And
when
Skittles
everything kind of got
dropped at the same
legalized.
time,
Yeah,
too.
Skittles
Yeah.
did. Skittles did right
Yeah.
at that same time. So, of course, Fields and Third Gen
Yep.
and Tony Mendo and man, yeah,
I,
it's
I,
just-
I love Brandon. I love
yeah, Brandon.
Brandon's the man, but you know we
Yeah.
still need to get Brandon on this podcast.
Yeah.
I need everybody's rendition of the Z story.
I
don't
know,
give
everybody's got a
I don't
different-
care. I
Everybody-
need
yeah.
everybody's shape and form of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the one I got so far is from Brandon. Fields got it from Gas Station Bob. Gas Station Bob got it from Overall Dave. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
names kill me, dog.
Wait,
That is
Gas
some hill
Station Bob
shit,
got
dog.
it from Overall Dave.
Yeah.
Who got it from fucking Boots Tom.
Yeah, exactly. From two-time Tony. You know what I mean?
Welcome to Humboldt.
Like,
you know
you're
what I
not
mean?
making it convincing, you know what I mean? Like, and it is just like, Overall Dave? Like, Overall Dave? Yeah, Overall Dave. And that's where the story starts.
Nah, it was Pancake Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, you know, a lot of the strange stuff. It's like we're all kind of like everybody's, you know, borrowing basically on borrowed, you know, genetics. We're all like basically bag seed in a way. So it's like God created all this shit. We're just like shepherding and stewarding and courting like this stuff, honestly. So it's like nothing's new under the sun. We're
I
just
like
like
to think-
mixing
do
it
you
up.
feel
You
like-
know what I
do
mean?
you
It's
feel
all
like-
here, like, you know.
You feel like you're all chefs and you're all working with the same
Different
like
Well,
10
ingredients.
ingredients.
there's that deal, you know, there's that deal, but there's the Shepherd one where we kind of like, but I think the plant is like Smokey and we're all Debo and it just got mind control on us.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, when you look at that, honestly, I mean, the relationship between cannabis and us as humans and everything, and I mean, whether it's, you know, animals or plants or whatever it is, like if you read like the Michael Pollan book, like the Botany of Desire or anything, it's like we're all have a hand in like the evolution of this plant, and it also has a hand in what we as humans are
It's
evolving.
probably the
and
most
doing, you know?
widespread type of plant type shit,
Yeah,
huh? The
yeah.
fucking weed plant.
I mean,
You've got
yeah.
such like a chill, like unassuming vibe about you. You've got like if like you're the type of guy where like if I was like high on mushrooms and I was walking through a festival and we bumped into each other and you were like, everything's gonna be okay, man. I'd be like, holy shit, dude, everything is gonna be okay. and then you start like talking to me for like 30 minutes and I was like, and then I met this guy and I just felt safe. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So
That's how Champelli makes you feel when you smoke it.
Yeah, there it is,
He's like,
there
go
it
get
is,
you
you know.
some, play it.
That's right, my brother. Yeah, now we, yeah. So just, you know, I got like 3 or 4 different breeding projects that I have going on with different homies that I work with, you know what I mean? So I've been giving them seed stock, bringing them males that other friends have popped, and, you know, just kind of like mixing it up and doing all types of different projects. Right now, it's like my time for my own breeding has been like limited, so I've really just been having a hand in like other
building
projects.
an empire with hands of other people, and
It's
that
tough
sounds so bad. That
tough-
sounds like
it's tough to
terrible.
do it all.
I'm building an
It's-
empire with other people's
It's tough
hands.
to
It takes
do
a village.
everything, man. It takes a village, you know. It's
Nah,
about,
man, build that Giza pyramid. No, I'm just-
yeah, I mean, you know, I'm almost in a way. I mean, if you want to, like, you know, say, Dr. Dre in a way where you come in and you sprinkle your little last finishing touches on something, or hey, do
Hey,
this.
not
or,
everybody has the tools or the ear or the
Yeah.
taste that you have, let alone the fucking the cosign.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
all that shit matters. You know what I mean? So if you grab a male and you think that shit's hot,
Yeah.
and you give it to
Well,
the,
because
you know,
a lot of what I've noticed is
yeah.
like people could have like the most fire shit in front of them and not even know it, or the worst shit. So it's like a lot of my job has been in these cultivations is saying, yo, get rid of all 5 of those strains, scale this one up, like cut that
No more
one.
cherry
Let's
AK-47.
yeah, exactly. Like let's cross these 2 things here. So part of it is like. And that comes from like having the discerning
Years of
taste and
knowledge.
curing and years of knowledge. It's like I've literally been doing weed shit for 35 plus years, and there's like not too many people that have been like growing since, like, besides like actual like old school dudes who are 70s and 60s or whatever. But
those guys don't want corporate jobs or anything
and
like
a lot of them
consulting
don't
jobs.
even know. They'll be like, I got this great stuff, and you'll be like, oh, that's some fucking crap or whatever. You know, not all of them are tuned in. It's about your palate, and I've always been like, whether like, you know, kind of having that discerning sort of taste, whether when it comes to food or clothing or even cannabis or art or whatever it is I try to touch. I just try to put my creative touch into it and my vision and like express myself through like curating those things or creating or, you know, having a hand in it. You know what I mean? And that's like, you know, part of like what we do as humans, I think. You know,
Have you
it's
ever
like-
directed a comedy special? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I actually got a very comedic side to me, honestly. And,
Well,
I haven't
guess
had
what,
just to find a way-
guys?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like I go pretty far out. Like it's hard to make me laugh. I need like extreme, like hardcore, like comedy. Like Dave Chappelle makes me laugh. It's like, shout out, I love Kevin Hart. He don't make me laugh. I'm just, you know, I need like shit that's really like
Oh, we gotta take him
cutting
to the store,
edge.
dog.
I need that cutting edge.
I was
like,
laughing
it's
really
like-
hard in the car this morning with talking about how like fucked up my dad. I love my dad, but he would do like some gnarly stuff.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
like I had a cousin. She was kind of heavier set,
Yeah.
and every time she'd walk in to the house, she'd come visit. He'd be like, "Big word!" Like every
Yo,
time.
Mexican families are the fucking
No,
meanest and
honestly-
the worst.
Honestly, Mexican humor to me is like I speak Spanish fluently and grew up in Mexico part of my life going back and forth, and it's like, and you know, was born in Spain, so it's like I get like
Yeah.
the humor is different.
Dude.
It's like it's like
He's
the
evil,
roasting
man.
and then putting the names
Bro,
on people and
so-
just like it's so good.
So my
It's
sister
hilarious.
was disabled, right? She was born premature, and she was like, she could fit in her hands when she was born. So they nicknamed her Thumbelina.
Oh my god.
And
yeah.
I was Frank's, and when they used to call her Bean because she was the size of a bean, right? And these are adorable nicknames, but they used to call us Franks and Beans when
Oh
we'd hang
my
out
God.
together.
Franks and
And it
Beans,
wasn't
that's
until we were
hilarious.
like older that I was like, "Yo, that's kind of fucked up." And then everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, you're right."
Yeah,
It
we
was so
had
funny,
a-
dog.
It's way different now. That's all I gotta
yeah.
say.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Ed doesn't have a nickname like or anyone.
Yeah,
in the
you're like,
family.
it stops with us.
yeah. And I thought about it, and she was like the first grandkid, and just
Yeah.
so she had like she was the trial child, you know,
Yeah.
like she got.
Can they handle it?
Well, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, in
Lily,
Mexico,
I love you, Lily.
Mexico, it's the apodos, right?
Yep.
Like, you know, they give you the apodo and like it sticks with you. It'd be like, oh, that guy's, you know, the lizard or whatever it is. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they always in Mexico in the
nickname, dog.
villages and the ranchitos, they're just like, oh, you get stuck with like a little nickname and that's it.
So
They're
I was
like,
from the ranchito.
Yeah.
The place we literally lived in is called El Ranchito. It's
Oh, it's called El
It's called
Ranchito.
from. It's next
The
to Mascota,
Ranchito?
Jalisco, about
Okay.
4 hours away from Guadalajara, about 2 hours away from Puerto Vallarta.
Okay, so yeah, right.
So-
Wait, hold on a second. So you're like down on the coast, like close to, let me see here. I mean, Melake and
all that
Bananavi
shit.
Valley.
Nayarit. We were close to San
Nayarit.
Juan de Abajo.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so you're up like north of Puerto Vallarta then.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, I got you.
So that's where we're from, and
San Marcos.
I was the
and-
fattest kid in the whole fucking village.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I was
was
a kid too,
I
dog.
was
That's
I was the
hilarious.
fattest. I was the whitest. You know,
Yeah.
like the lightest complexion. And dude, I got the shit end of the stick
What'd they
over
call
there.
you?
Yeah.
And every time they come back to visit, they don't know it's me. They're like, no, yo creía que vas a andar grande como el Kitty. And Kitty's a big motherfucker, you know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, you know, I came out kind of good. You know what I mean?
They're like, no, tiene que ser esa dieta
Yeah,
del
man.
norte, right? You're not
Fuck
down
that
here
shit.
eating the Mexican diet or drinking.
I had a friend.
2 liters of
he
Coke.
was a chef, and he was such a he was an old school guy. He was like racist, but he wasn't. It was a different kind. It was like the old school, like not racist where it's like I hate you, but just like ignorant kind of deal.
Yeah.
You know, working in a
It happens
kitchen.
every day.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was just talking about how he was like, he'd always be like, you got to work out, man. He was like, you should date a white woman. I was like, why? He was like, have you seen what Mexican women and their food do to you? You're Mexican men. And I was like, oh yeah, we get all fat. He was like, beans and rice, dog. That shit'll kill you. And I was like, oh damn, he was kind of right.
I mean, you know, the Mexican diet, if you're not careful, you know,
You
it's
will
make
get-
anybody, you make anybody,
Bro.
you know, yeah.
Have you
know.
seen like the I don't know what part of I don't even know if it's Mexico or Central America, but
Yeah.
it's some type of Mexican. You know what I'm saying? We were
Yeah.
talking about that the other day. But there's like this tribe that they live high altitude and they run a lot, and they used to be like runners, and that's how they carried messages.
There's the
across.
Taomara Indians in Taomara Indians. They run barefoot. They're like super runners. That's in Chihuahua.
and
I
yeah,
think, or
Chihuahua,
something in
exactly.
Chihuahua,
And if they
yeah.
come over here and their metabolism's like, but
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
come over here and just boom, everything slows down,
Well,
they just
Yeah, and a
blow
lot of
up.
what we say is the Mexican diet is actually the American diet, you
Yeah.
know, because you add chips, you add, you know, Coca-Cola, high fructose
Chips.
stuff. You add, I mean, this happens to like
Cheese.
even the Polynesians or the Samoans. Like a lot of it has to do with just the American diet is really what it is. You know what I mean? And processed
Western
foods,
imperialism.
Western imperialism. There you go.
Well,
Thank
come
you.
on,
Like,
dog. We don't want to start getting
Yeah,
into
getting
communism
into-
territory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you been to Europe, like Barcelona? It's
Yeah.
like
I've always wanted to go.
Well, the
different types of
Mediterranean,
people.
the Mediterranean
you know, like,
diet.
like
right? It's,
everyone
different.
looks fine,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Everybody's in shape.
And then over here, it's all like everyone's
Models.
like fucking
Yeah, we're all fucking.
looking like Mace and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big boos.
Big movies, no shit. But no, it has. I mean, obviously, diet is a big thing, and you know, you gotta watch what you eat.
take care of
for
yourselves,
man.
guys.
Take care of
Especially when we
yourselves
get these
for real.
munchies, dog.
Take care of
Yeah,
yourselves
yeah.
for real.
Stay,
though.
you know, sugar, bread, all that shit.
I
you
eat a
know,
lot
so
of
Dude, I
bread.
eat so
yeah,
much
bread,
cheese.
I mean, tortillas are so good, man.
So
And like,
good,
and you
dog.
can eat them so quick. Like when you have like a bag of tortilla chips, it's like you could run through a whole bag of tortilla chips. If you equate that to how many tortillas you actually just ate,
Yeah.
when you cut up and fry and make tortilla chips, you're like, you know, a whole stack, a kilo of tortillas to make a bag of tortilla chips, and you could eat that in like one sitting, like with
Jesus.
some
I didn't even think
salsa,
of
and
that.
you're like, damn, I just ate a whole key of fucking
all
tortillas
keyed up.
over here.
Bro,
you know what
I
mean?
used to be all keyed up when I was a little fat boy. Living on the street. I used to
Yo.
eat in my drawers. You know,
Yeah.
I used to be watching like fucking Maury, anything on the TV, and then fucking big bag of Lay's and a bucket of sour cream, just little
Oh,
fat
dude,
Yeah,
that
Nintendo
yeah,
too,
right
bro.
there.
So my thing was milk and just Oreo cookies, or I would get into pizza rolls or bagel bites. I would
Jesus
murder
Christ.
50, 100. I used to murder sheets of bagel bites.
Any
in
guilty
2
pleasures?
sittings.
I mean, as a kid, I mean, not that this was my only guilty pleasure, but I remember my mom saying I just used to drink a ton of milk, just like, and they pushed milk on you as a kid back
They
in the day. It was
really
just
did as a
milk,
kid.
milk,
Milk's
milk.
so bad.
Now, just like when it
Yeah.
was cold and you're thirsty as a kid, you
Yeah.
don't want to drink water. You're just like pounding milk.
My cousin
you know, it's
David
like,
drank so much milk. I don't drink milk like that. During high school, I used to spend all my money on weed and not on food, so I'd be stuck eating cereal every fucking
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
So I'm not big on cereal. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Because
yeah.
it wasn't like something I wanted to do. It was
Like
something
my
I
mom
just
never
did.
used to buy me any of like the sweet cereal, so I'd go to other people's houses, and then I would just like be like, oh, go run through everybody's cereal and junk food, or hit the
Yo,
store.
same.
Man, you know, moms would be like, here goes a fucking, you know, oat fucking, you know,
Dude, I'm still fat as fuck,
biscuit or
dog.
whatever.
Fuck that
some
shit. We're getting some
tasteless ass
cereal at
shit.
the
Yeah,
homie's
yeah,
house,
exactly,
bro.
yeah.
He got them fucking good honey smacks over
Oh,
there.
yeah,
you know
anything,
what
You're
I'm
fucking,
saying?
anything
you're all,
sugary.
your lips are all fucked up because you're not used to the sugary crunchiness of the
Oh
cereal.
man, we had 4 boys in our house and my sister,
Yeah.
and we're from the hood. Like my
Yeah.
dad used to buy us the big generic bag, and that shit would be gone the same day it landed, bro.
Damn,
Like,
right,
and,
yeah.
or like they would buy like a nice Italian bakery, Giuliano's fucking deli cuts, and those shits would be gone the first day. Nothing
Man.
lasted in our fridge growing
Yeah,
up. Like
yeah.
it was just poof.
Man, I
Poof,
bet, yeah.
bunch of kids my
Pops
size.
is like shit, man. Going to work every day, like, God damn, these little fuckers. Like,
Yeah, man.
Everything I buy
Shout out,
just
Pops.
disappear. Yeah, Pops
Shout out,
holding it
Pops.
down.
Big wave. Big wave.
Yeah, that's great.
Hell yeah! What are we at? Oh, Doug.
We're
Oh,
Hell
perfect.
yeah, we're
that's great.
fucking. That's
That's
dope.
what's
Any last fucking things we should wrap up, Champ, before like anything that they have to know or they should
This is
know?
a fun,
man,
good conversation.
Yeah, man. I mean, go check out the Cassis in stores now, the Exclusivo, the Super Gremlin, the Ropium. Check out Champelli.co for all the clothing. This is a jacket that I actually designed right here, kind of a full-length, 90s kind of inspired, like
Super fresh.
water,
That is pretty fresh stuff.
waterproof little vibe there. And yeah, I'm all about just the clothing shit and the weed shit, music stuff, good food.
I think people we didn't really like talk about anything like in particular, so they
Yeah.
got to just hang out with Champelli
Yeah.
today.
I mean, we could go on for hours, as you could tell. So we got to,
That's usually the vibe of the show.
That'll be like, we'll definitely pick up on another date further
trust me.
down the line. My
This
brother,
was a
for
cool.
sure.
This was a cool one. We people
yeah, my
literally
brother.
got to see the
I
Champelli
appreciate you
vibe,
guys.
Oh,
I
dude, we can do
appreciate
another 15, 20 if you want.
I mean, we're
yeah.
right here kicking it. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
we
right
squeeze
here.
So we'll
in a
end it
little
real
more.
quick.
What
and
what
then-
did you bring over here? What you got right here?
Oh shit, man! I mean,
Yeah.
I got a whole slew of flavors of new things that I've been
Oh,
hunting through. That
shit.
are just like scaling up. So part of the process is just like, shit. All this breeding stuff is like you got to try
Patreon
stuff.
exclusive.
Man, this is
Check out Champelli's
yeah,
new
this
I'm
is
peanut
fun.
the
butter.
Oh god,
exclusive.
I love
This
this.
is the
I was telling you, I love the
exclusive,
sound of
Like,
a
we
turkey
have
bag. You know what I mean?
major